All right, let's begin. Hello and welcome to another Hedgehog Make stream. My name is Austin, aka Zombie Hedgehog, and today we're going to be working on the Twisted T, a brand new printer design based off of two mods of the Voron Trident. So the Trident, which is a printer I have behind me, this is an LDO kit Trident 250. This is going to be a 150 millimeter Trident. A little small, but it'll also have side-mounted electronics using kyledavis's Sidepack mod. So stick along for the ride. We're gonna venture into uncharted territories, and we're going to kind of develop the printer as we go because it's still not finished. We're gonna start building it as if it's a Trident, and then work our way into the build. So I can't wait. I have been dying to build some type of Sidepack printer for quite a long time. So yeah, let's jump into it. Let me do something real quick. There we go. So start the frame. So this frame, let me hide this box real quick. This frame was custom cut, custom tapped, custom everything. So this was made from all 1 meter DoubleT extrusions, and I cut them all with my miter saw, which should be calibrated ish. Ginger, did you help out? Ginger helped out a little bit. See if Ginger approves. I think this is the standard for 3D printing, right? Your cat has to approve of the printer. What do you think? See? It's Ginger sized. You like it? Get it all covered in hair before we get started. So, the way to think about this is this half of the frame is a Voron Trident. It's just small. So we're still using 2020 extrusions, unlike the salad fork, which is 50-15 or 15-15 extrusions. So a V0, Voron 0, has a couple different mods, and the Micron, which is a small Voron 2.4, and the salad fork, which is a small Trident, both use 15-15 extrusions. Whereas the Tiny-T is just a small Trident using almost exactly stock parts, with a couple of exceptions. So there's different size rails, and, well, we'll get into the specifics, but it's you can pretend like I'm building a Trident, except all the electronics are mounted on the side. This has a few advantages. One, the frame is wider, so it's going to be a little more stable, just thinking about how the feet is mounted. And this is going to be a fast printer. I've already planned on it. I can't make it too much faster with its current state. So we'll get into electronics, the parts choices. Ginger really likes it. Wow, she's super excited. But Ginger is very, very distracting. Can I help you? So yeah, we're building a Trident, and then we're mounting all the electronics on the side. Oh yeah, the frame. So, okay, don't step on the keyboard. That's not a good idea. Oh, minimizing all the windows. What button did you press? There we go. Yeah, there we go. So everyone say bye, Ginger. We gotta start this build. Alright. The wider frame means it's gonna be a little more stable. versus just a thin frame printer. And the second and most important part is that we now have more extrusions. So instead of just having the one square of extrusions, we now have this whole thing with an extra one in the middle. That's a whole extra extrusion set right here versus a standard Trident, which should make the frame even more rigid in probably both directions. So the usually the Y direction is pretty stable because of this orientation or arrangement of panel extrusions. But now we also have the same thing going on in the X. Pretty interesting design. Building it was easy enough once you figure out how to. I can summarize how I built the frame because it took me a long time. I had to go back, disassemble it, re-drill some holes. It was kind of a work of art, let's just put it that way. So if you're building this from scratch, what you'll want to do is build out both of these side panels first. Completely build them out. So we'll have this side right here, assemble that together. Then this side here, put that together. And then you'll have to work from the bottom up to the middle. So you're going to want to attach the Z extrusion onto this rail first. Then attach this lower extrusion, the front extrusion. Attach these two Z extrusions. And then your middle Y extrusion. And then these two top extrusions, and then the middle extrusion. So you have kind of a weird shape. And then you put your blind joint screws on both the top and bottom here. You take this assembly and you slide it in, the whole thing in. Same thing with that side. And once you have that, it should be good. It took me a little while to kind of figure out the process. I built it as if it was a typical printer. I had to keep undoing parts because I forgot to slide in the extrusion. So yeah, that's going to be the stock design. If this becomes popular, I might try to get a frame kit made through one of the vendors. But we'll try to release this as a pre-done frame kit. Yeah, we're on YouTube today because all of my dedicated build series are on YouTube, aka when I have some stuff actually planned out, we do it on YouTube, because YouTube does a great job of documenting and archiving. You did great, some would give up. Yeah, just getting to this point was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Having to go into the CAD, measure out each one of these things, accurate enough to where I could screw all the things together. Whew. Fun stuff. So I did this off stream just to make sure it was buildable in the first place, and that I'd have something to start building with. So probably the next step is to follow a standard, probably a standard Trident guide. That's actually probably the best thing to do because we're building as a Trident. Yeah, we'll just follow that. So I'm gonna pull that up on my end. I don't think I have it set up to share, but this is all very unique anyway. So this is the build guide for this printer. And if you're watching this, watch through the entire series before you start because stuff might change, right? This is not a finished printer. There's still some stuff to be decided. Since I've taken the Tiny-T and made it wider, we'll have to add some not extrusions, but some different size panels. Specifically, there still needs to be a panel for this side right here. So we're still developing whether or not we want the cables to come out through here into the chassis. We got to figure out how to mount some electronics. So electronic side still needs a little bit of work. So that'll be done off stream, but I wanted to get this started. Just kind of visualize what I'm doing. So yeah, let's get into some of the major components that I'm using for this build. I ordered a Trident fastener kit from West 3D. Maybe. There we go. This is their BDF stainless steel kit. So this has everything you need to build a Trident, fasteners wise. So I picked one of those up just because I'm building a Trident and I would need most of these anyway. There's a couple of unique things in here that I don't have. I don't have a lot of M2 screws, for example, so just in case I need anything random, it should be in here. I have a lot of fasteners, but might as well use that. So that's the main fastener kit. I've already assembled them, as you have seen in the thumbnail, but these are my my AB drives. So we are running, if I can get this focused, we are running some, there we go, LDO Super Power High Temp motors. These are their new, I think they're how many amps are these? They're a lot. I think they're 2.8 amps as opposed to 2.5 amps for the regular speedy powers. So these were redesigned to help with apparently quality at different speeds, so less vibrations. Vez 3D has done a test with these at high speeds, and I believe these are slightly noticeable for quality improvements. So these are the new standard for kind of the best motors that you can just throw on your printer off the shelf. So we'll be using these. I've already built this whole thing because this is Polymaker Polymax PC. I will be running these at 48 volts at as high current as I could possibly run them without everything melting, because I'm trying to push this printer pretty fast. We'll see how fast we can get it, but I wanted this to be my small and fast printer. I didn't go with a V0 because of a few reasons. One, 120 is not a lot for practicality. It's not a lot of space practicality wise, and if I'm gonna go through and build a whole printer, I would really like to just start with a slightly bigger printer. So 150 will be perfect. Somewhere around here I have a Mandela Roseworks bed. So that is a 150. They actually make a Tiny-T bed. So I got the version with integrated magnets. It's pretty amazing. I think it's over in a box with the panels, but I'll put that on when the time comes. So 150 will be a much better size in the XY. The Z height, this is not going to be used for tall prints. It's just going to be used for, I need something kind of small and fast to be printed. I'm also going to try to set some speed records with it, see what it can do. Some interesting features on this that I want to check out. Was it hard to print? The PC, I actually just printed this in the Bamboo with pretty much stock settings, and yeah, it had no problems at all. I was actually very impressed how well this printed, and it looks exactly like the regular ABS or ASA that Polymaker sells in red. So it's pretty much a matching color set. So that's why I did the whole printer in red, because I had red Polymax PC out of all the colors. And the reason why I chose that is so it can handle slightly higher temps versus ABS. These motors will get hot, and I want to limit as much heat issues as possible. So my idea was to print it in PC. If this does not work, I can just get aluminum, CNC parts for these, and then just replace that after the fact. Not the most ideal thing to do, but this will be better than ABS. So yeah, that's the motors. So thank you to LGO for sending those over. I printed off the rest of the parts in Polymaker ASA. Is it ABS or ASA? It doesn't really matter. It's essentially the same when it comes to these builds. But I think this is the ASA. Yeah, ASA red. And then I printed the accent colors in Polymaker's Galaxy Dark Gray ABS. So we have a nice Galaxy color for here. I didn't go with the Galaxy Red because it's a slightly different color than the regular red, so I wanted to keep it fairly close. And I haven't built a, just red and black Voron, which is stock colors for a Voron, so I thought it would be neat to go back to basics. I've also printed some of... These are remixed by FDAB Patch over on Printables. I can leave the link for these, but these are Steve Builds' remixed hex trays, but this is the stacking version. And thanks to Steve, I'm now printing these in 2 colors and with concentric middle top surfaces. I like this version because they stack. This one had a little bit of warping, but still functional. These stack. So when I'm building it, I can just print off a ton of these and just stack them up, put them away. Whereas the regular hex trays, they don't stack, so I tend to lose parts. So I gotta print some more of those, but that'll be enough to get us started. What else do we have? Yeah, this is actually a fan, a side blower fan. And unlike a Bamboo or any of the newer printers, we have 2 of them. One just came off. These are printed on the Trident, but these will go on the side. They just screw down to the bottom, and that provides our side blowing. I forget the size of these fans, but they're 60-something, maybe 60-15 fans. So bigger than 50-15, and they should be adequate for what I'm trying to do. If they're not, I have some 120 blowers from Rook builds that I can try to integrate. On this side over here, for electronics, we will be using these 60mm fans. They're thin fans, I think 10 or 15. And we're going to have 3 of them on the front for intake to cool off the electronics enclosure. And on the top, I'm planning on putting a Big Tree Tech SPI screen. Is that what this is? No. So it's a little... This one? Yeah. So this guy right here. So this is the TFT 35 SPI. Like that. And that will probably mount like this. So it's a little bit of a touchscreen, just in case you want to control your printer as it goes. Just a nice feature to have built in. And it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but the easiest thing for the Manta series of boards is that this is compatible. You can't use a regular Pi TFT for the Manta / CB1 because they're just not compatible. If I ran a CM4 in here, it would be, but this is a CB1. So we'll be powering this with the, this is a version 1.1 Manta M8P. We'll be running the higher power drivers for AB and then regular drivers for the rest. Actually, they're already installed. So these big beefy drivers, these are, I just forget, they're 50, are they even labeled? 5160s from Big Tree Tech. 5160s, capable of pushing lots of amps at lots of volts, which will max out what we're trying to do here. So that's the main power, or the main controller board for the printer. That will be mounted in the electronics enclosure. What else we got? I'm running a Honey Badger bed. I picked this up from Fabrico. This is a 120 heater, edge to edge, about the biggest that I could put for the 150 bed that I have. So we'll be using this. I really like the cable that this comes with. It comes pre-sleeved and everything. You just kind of, I don't know, install it. It'll be nice. And then we'll have to run this to the board. So, well, again, we'll have to figure out where we're routing all the cables for everything, because it's a non-typical build. You know, will I have to run it like this and then extend the cables, or am I going to run it into the side? Like, who knows? We'll figure it out, what the best routing is, and that'll be an as-we-go type of thing. But that's that right there. That's just a 24-volt bed. That'll do fine for our purposes. Ooh, let's get into the tool head. The tool head's actually quite exciting for me. A couple of all new things, actually. So the tool head is right here. Should probably undo this. Let's undo it. On build stream. I've already tested some of these parts because I want to just get running. As soon as I go, I don't want to stop. I just want to go. Good evening, folks. What is this trident about? Well, it's a small trident, specifically designed to go fast. So it's a fast trident. They'll show you the... Can I just take this out? Yeah. I'll show you the hot end. I've already have it mounted, but that would be this right here. So this is a new one for me. I'll zoom in for you. This is called the Red Lizard. This is the K1. You know, because everything's called K1 now. So it's the K1. And it's a really weird hybrid of a lot of different hot ends that I've seen. So it's kind of like a Dragon style heat break, but Rapido style hot end. So very unique, and we'll see how it performs. And this is the ultra high flow version. I am using, I guess I can use a typical Dragon burner. So the current plan, it might change, but we'll be using a Dragon burner, just a little mini hot end. I think this is all correct. And then on top, we'll be trying the CNC Hextrudort low. Right here. So this is a very cool CNC'd Hextrudort. It's essentially a BMG gears. The gears are helical though. You can kind of see on here. So that should help with quality. Hypothetically. And then I've put on a Moons motor for now, because this is what I had. So we'll try out the Moons motor. I've heard that these are slightly more powerful than the LDO equivalents, so since we're trying to push for max speed, we'll give that a shot first. We'll be able to change stuff out as needed. So this should mount. Oh, actually, how does this mount? Oh, okay. So I need some more heat sets here. So this will mount on this top bracket right here, and this goes on the Dragon burner, like so. So this is our tool head. A little silly looking, but it'll be fun. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. I think we're going CAN for this. Can you believe it? We'll be going CAN just because I don't want to have to deal with cable management. And CAN will be the easiest for cable routing. I have a specific cable for CAN, and I have a Big Tree Tech EBB 36. So that will mount on the back of the extruder. I've used CAN once before on my simple core. I really like it. It's super simple when it works. I just followed Modbot's guide on it, but we'll use this guy right here. Hello? There we go. So just this guy right here. We'll find a good way to mount it. This takes care of my ADXL. I'll probably still try the nozzle mounted ADXL. I have one of those over there and it seems to work pretty good, but just for testing purposes, it'll be nice to have that on here. And lots of benefits of going with CAN. So that is the plan. Is there anything else major that I missed? I'll be trying to use Clicky. As you might have seen on the back of the hot end, Galcifer has actually designed a specific mounting bracket for this printer. It's kind of a weird mix of different parts, and this one has a PCB PCB clicky mount. So it might interfere with the build volume, but it might actually interfere with more stuff than that. I'll have to figure out how to incorporate that, but I'll do that after the gantry is built. I'm not going with tap/boop because I am going for speed on this, and it will introduce more weight and a little bit of lack of rigidity, just a little bit. And I wanted to go as light and as fast as possible for this, so that's why we have a very small tool head and direct dry, because I just don't like tuning Bowden. Red on black, yeah, it's gonna be nice. First time using heat sets the other day. You got one in pretty crooked. Stuck a bolt in, used the torch to mend it. Yep, you can do that too. You can like reheat it up as well, and then when it's warm, you just like stick your screw in and then tilt it. In fact, a lot of the heat set tools, they have a little screw section on it, so you can screw in your iron and then untwist it, remove it, etc. It's always an option if you have one of those. Oh, that's pretty much it. But probably the coolest thing about this build, I cannot wait. We get to try out not one, but two UHP power supplies. So this is a Meanwell UHP 24 volt and 48 volt. So these are two separate power supplies. They're the thin, silent version. There's no fans. You can just buy one of these for your regular printer. But the cool thing about this is that two of these take out almost the same room as a standard power supply. So it's like the same profile. And there's different mounts that allow you to put two of these on one DIN rail. So this will be mounted right in the side. Somehow, we'll figure that out as we get to it. But that'll be pretty exciting to try out. And this is the first time I've ever tried out 48 volts on a printer. I've run very briefly those 5160 drivers, but well, the major thing I noticed was I was able to push more speed out of the printer with the the standard drivers, the 2209s. Is that the one? Yeah, 2209s. They just weren't powerful enough. They weren't able to push enough current into the motors. So I was able to achieve at the same voltage more output just with those drivers. So that could be a nice upgrade if you are kind of lacking, if you're on the edge. If you're running, 1.4, 1.5 amps on speedy powers, that can make the difference. 1.8 versus 0.9 degree. We're going for speed here, so we definitely want 1.8 degree motors. Do you have 5 volts? So we don't have a Pi. We have a Manta board. So we don't have any 5 volts in this printer. It's all taken care of inside of, oops, everything's catching, inside of here. There's no 5 volts needed. I currently don't have any lights, but if we add them, then we can figure that out as we go. I should have enough room for like one of those mini power supplies, and I have an adapter just in case we want to use lights. We might. We probably will. Gonna have a cool top hat. I'll link the CAD for the, well, the CAD for the Tiny-T is linked if you want to check that out. And this version is not finalized. I'm just trying to mismatch it on shape right now, but once I have it more complete, I will show the plans for the printer. Any questions before I continue? The last thing, we are using Honey Badger fans. I've heard very good things about these fans, so I want to give them a shot. So these will go in the Dragon Burner, and we'll see how they do. Because I'll want to use this for standard printing anyway. So a Dragon Burner with the dual 4010 fans, that's enough for standard cooling. This will be enclosed. I will be able to print ABS on it. I'll probably print PLA on it, which is why I want those side cooling fans, just in case, just for a little bit of extra cooling. Alright, cool, yeah. Invite everyone over if you're watching Nero's live stream. I know a lot of people were interested in this because this is the first one ever. It's really a beta build of the Twisted T. I think the first official build will be when there's a frame kit made for this. But no one is building the Tiny-T. I honestly think that it's overall going to be better than a salad fork because you're using 2020 extrusions. All 2020 things will be compatible. Everything. You know, you don't have to worry about the 50-15, no preloading nuts. You just slot in T-nuts. There's a lot of benefits to going 2020. And it's more rigid. So, I like it. Yeah, so Tiny-T is a small trident. It's a 150 trident. That's it. So it's just 2 sizes down. So instead of 200, it's just 150. So you just go whoop, whoop, shrink it twice because the rail sizes. Oh, the rails. Yeah, we have rails for this. Let me get them. I have some rails. This whole box is parts. Hey, we got DoubleT in chat. Welcome in. I just realized there's a whole other box of parts for this. So let me quickly unbox this. This is the Mandela bed, where one of the screws came out, so I gotta find a new one or fix that. But I think it's M3. Is it M3 or M4? Might be M4. So this is our bed. This is a Mandela Roseworks with the integrated magnets. The magnets are strong. They are crazy strong. Don't stick stuff to this if you don't want to not come off. So we have that. We are running not 1, not 2, but 3 Voron 0 linear integrated lead screw motors. Gotta focus. That's probably not gonna focus. Whatever. Integrated lead screw motors. So that's our Z-axis. So stock B0 motors. Luckily, West 3D does stock them for some random purpose. I don't know why. So they'll be able to buy 3 of them. I guess they expect you to buy them in sets of 3 because they had 9 in stock. We have a variety of rails. I don't know which ones are for this printer and which ones are for another one, but these are all West 3D Berserker rails. I use them in my 2.4 build, and I absolutely love them, so we'll be using them for this build. I have some more of the West 3D's Berserker bearings. So this whole printer, at least these flange bearings, are going to be ceramic bearings which are even smoother than the standard ones. We have some, which brand is this? I don't know. You can check West3D's website. I got a link in the description, but these are the Z bearings. They're 5-something bearings. They allow the bed to kind of go back and forth so you can tram it. Some generic, I think these are Gates bearings. I think those are Gates too. But that'll be for the AB. And then, lots of parts in this printer. Kind of crazy how many parts go into a Trident. These are the cable glands that I'll probably be using. At least one of these, if not two. But we'll be using the CAN cabling chain flex, and then we're running it into this. It's going to be mounted on the side right here, so just the one little wire should be fine. So I'll put that aside. I don't want to lose any parts. I honestly just use Polymaker boxes to organize all my parts. It's very useful. The bed I'm going to put aside because, again, there's like magnets, and let's put that over there. Alright, rails. Let's organize the rails. So we have, this is a 250. That's not for this printer. I think this is all, yeah, 200. So 1, 2, 3. Those are 250. I got some more rails around here, but we have just all 200 millimeter. These are MGN 9C rails because that's what West3D sells in 200 millimeters. kyledavis, who is the creator of the much larger Voron Trident Sidepack, so like this but actual size, either a 250 or 350 Trident, which the frames are available now on Fabrico's website. That's very cool. You can just buy a whole kit from scratch. He has redesigned or adapted to be able to use these parts because this is a more traditional size that you can buy, at least from West3D. I think it's because of one of the Rook printers. There's so many different rail sizes. You run AB EC9 on your 9mm belt loading gantry. I'm honestly, I don't know much about ratings for both rails and bearings, but I can tell you that the bearings you have, okay, yeah, the bearings are really nice, and the rails, I think these are like medium-high preload as opposed to high preload, but I haven't noticed any issues on my 2.4. It's able to go very fast and smooth. I'm excited to use these too. They're just so cute. They're like the smallest integrated lead screw motors. They look like this. They're crazy. And they're LDO special coated ones with the palm nuts. I like them. They work well on the Trident, so it'll be nice to have her here. Hey, Maker Viking. Welcome in. If you have a specific question for me during the live chat, you can tag Hedgehog Makes, and I should be able to see it. So in this build, we have parts from a lot of different vendors. We have the majority of parts from West3D. They did help me get some of the parts for the build, so I do greatly appreciate them. I also bought parts myself from Fabrico, some of the random things that I wanted to get from there. I also got some of electronic stuff from DFH. They had some black rails, DIN rails, that I saw there. And then KB3D, I am working with on some secret stuff. So we'll see what we can integrate with them. You think we should get into it? Who wants to start this build? Because I just want it done. I really want it done as soon as possible. So let me pull up a guide for the printer. there is no guide for the printer. There might be a guide for the printer. Is there a manual for the Tiny-T? If not, I'm just going to go with the regular Trident assembly. I built a Trident and a 2.4. I'm fairly familiar with the build process, but it's good to follow the guide. From what I can see, the whole Trident part is going to be standard. I don't see anything different from it. Alright, I'll have to check on the rails, but I got those. I don't have to use them for this project, but I can, actually, I think I got the black, like, adapters for the SSR. Came back for AGR concert. Awesome! Awesome. Like to go to some more concerts once in a while. Alright, let's see. So no, there isn't going to be a solid state relay, but I might be using the mount. I think it's your mount with the dual SSRs for the UHP power supplies. Yeah, the printed ones. We're just going to have the controller board mounted. So whatever mounts that takes. We'll see. I'm far off from the wiring. I'm not even thinking about it yet. Alright, so what I'm doing in the background is I'm loading up, trying to find my Trident files, which has the manual, and I'm going to follow that because this is just a small Trident. Extrusions, whew, get to skip that part. Alright, AB drive and idler. What's this? Is this printer gonna be used for any specific project? Yes, gotta go fast project. That's it. I just wanted a printer that could go fast. That's all. My 2.4 is probably one of my fastest printers right now, but the cooling on it is suboptimal. So unless I go with a different tool head and, you know, redesign the whole thing, which I really didn't want to do. It works well. I want to leave it stock, at least until I have another printer built, but I really just want to print fast benchies. I want to print fast boats. That's it. That's the underlying part of this project, is just print fast boats. I'm not even gonna lie. Although it would be nice if I want a fast print, I can just send it to this printer. We have the bamboo in the back, but I'd like to have a custom-made fast printer. In all reality, this is just for fun. A lot of the printers I do are for fun, and I thought this would be a great introduction for a lot of people to both the Tiny-T, if you just want to build this version. I would recommend just going with this if you want a simpler build. There's no real major advantage in going with Sidepack for this specific build, but it's fun. It's a cool, again, unique build. It's going to look sick when it's done. And it's the same exact width as a Trident 250, just smushed. Good evening and welcome in, everyone. So, we need to assemble our AB drives. Let's do that. Alright, we are now done assembling our AB drives. Look at that. Wow, that was quick. Again, I did pre-assemble these because this is Polymaker Polymax PC in red. So I wanted to make sure that everything fit well and that everything was in focus. There we go. So there we go. I've already gotten all of the bearings assembled. Are these the right... I might replace the bolts. I think the stock bolts are not this style. I just used what I had. Oh, let's see. Yeah, M5 by 30. So let's go into my fastener kit and find some M5 by 30. That will be better overall because the button heads are designed for, you know, that purpose. Socket heads are designed for something different. I never really know when, you know, when a... Besides if you need to have something flush, like the difference between a socket head and a what is this called? Socket head and button head. This is a socket because it's like a socket. I don't know. Like, I don't know what these are, why these are named as they are. Wow, there's a lot of parts in here. This box came in, and this is so heavy. So I'm just gonna dump these out. I don't know what I'm looking for. Here we go. M5 by 30. I'm gonna take stuff out as I need them. I'll leave the heat sets out. I'll have this bag here. I have a handy organizer tray that I'll be organizing everything in. You're waiting on Twitch? Oh yeah. I think I accidentally went live on Twitch because my settings weren't correct. But yeah, we're on YouTube. Again, for all of these major builds that are focused, I'd like to stream on YouTube. Plus, it's a great way to diversify the audience. You know, some people only watch YouTube, some people only watch Twitch. So I primarily stream. Let's see if I can do this without needing to undo all this stuff. I primarily stream on Twitch. So it's nice to get on YouTube once in a while. And I am now a, what's the word, partner? I'm a YouTube partner. So if you'd like to donate to the channel via, I think you can do super chats or at least stickers. If you want to send a sticker, you can do that now. It's a fun way to interact with the stream and support the channel and YouTube. Alright, so those are on. Just hand tight. Put these aside because they're no longer needed. There we go. Perfect. Looking a little better. My pulleys are black. I don't even care. They're just black pulleys. Are these the right ones? Yeah, okay. I want to chat with Steve Nero about their stream settings. Getting weird buffering you don't get. I'm running an ultra low latency mode. That's probably why. Is anyone else having any buffering issues? But I have done plenty of live streams on here. No one has complained. Can you see yellow? Yes, I can. I know exactly what yellow is supposed to look like. I'm an expert at yellow. Seems okay. Alright. Yeah, any feedback you have, just send me a message over on Discord. Because I am very new to streaming. I've only been streaming for about a year. So if anyone has any suggestions for stuff they'd like to see, different camera angles, I am all ears. I'd love to modify the way that I do stuff in order to better serve you. Because at the end of the day, I'm just here to demonstrate what I'm doing, and I'd love to have you know, the best views and the best presentation. Alright. These bearings are all on. Again, I'm using West 3D's bearings. This one needs to be a little tighter. You don't want any play in those bearings. So get it just tight enough so where there's no vertical play. Check all these bearings. This one is also a little loose, so I'll tighten that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alright. Should be good. Maybe I'll give a little more on that one. Okay. Those are done. Missing the chat because you're watching TV. Oh yeah, that's what I usually do. I throw the video up on the TV and then I'll go on my phone for chat. Finish watching Nero. Yeah, Nero's at this time of recording. Nero is building a original Ultimaker or something like that. Like a very, very interesting build. So go check out Nero if you want more content on Vorons and custom printers. Alright, wow, we've pretty much done most of the assembly. We need to do our front idlers. Okay, the front idlers. Hopefully I have all the parts printed. We're about to find out. But we are using Rama idlers. One note in the the Tiny-T repository. If you could label in the files which mod is which, I think that would be slightly better, because they're just kind of in there. But I should have cover, which is not needed. I have this piece right here. So this is for Rama idlers. I should hopefully have 2 of those. Yeah, so 2 of those right here. I have pins in one of these bags. Couple pins for Ramas. Your frame looks more sturdy than Ultimaker. I hope so. Ooh, this thing is probably one of the stiffest blind joint frames you can get for... Actually, I will argue that this right here is the stiffest Voron frame. Because any bigger and you get less stiffness. And I don't think there's any... smaller ones that are stiffer. Let me check something. Yeah. This is an interesting... The Tiny-T is interesting because I haven't really heard about it. I have one friend who actually has built one, and I had no idea about it until I mentioned it. I'm like, oh yeah, I have one of those. I don't think there's too many. So if anyone's interested in a custom project, there's no kit for it, but you can essentially use a Trident kit. You just get a different frame. There's differences, right? But you can get some of like the fastener kits and a lot of the stuff you can get for a Trident. Probably 15, 20 out there. So there's a handful for sure, but not a crazy amount. I think there's probably more salad forks if I had to guess, but that's just a guess. I don't know. You built and sold around 12. That's a lot, nah? Okay. So everything looks fine on my end. Let's continue. I gotta find... Well, let's see. Probably turn my soldering iron. Might need that. Does anyone remember how to assemble these things? So... This is the fronts for Ramas. If anyone's having issues, I can probably turn off ultra low latency mode, and then just do regular low latency. I have gigabit uploads, so that's usually not an issue. I think it's just on YouTube's end. I am looking for the flat front pieces. I think they're red. Where'd those go? Here's one of them. Here's another. So these are the main 3 pieces I'll need. Let me go and zoom right into here. Go. Let's just focus right here. So we have 3 parts for Ramas. Let me just put one set aside for now. We have this, which will mount to the frame. And then we have this part right down there on the floor. It's not one of my streams unless I'm dropping dropping this. Yeah, I could try. I don't think I can edit that midstream. Can I edit that midstream? Let's see. I just use my typical stream settings, and typically no one has issues with that, so I don't know. Let's go to my studio and see. Yeah, right on the floor, as always. Where is my dashboard? Customization, details. I don't think I can change that on the fly. I don't see a way to do that. So we'll do it for next time. Okay. So Ramas. Rama idlers are cool because they have 2 screws for the tensioning instead of the 1 for a standard. It's not completely necessary, but it's just nice to fine-tune the installation. So this installs like this, and this is able to slide back and forth. The idler, the bearing will go into here, and then there's a front plate that should just snap on, but I'm not going to do it because it's a little fragile. So for heat sets, where do I need a heat set? I think is that screw into plastic? Are there any heat sets on here? Maybe just in here. I think last time I messed up and I did the... Let's do the pins first and then the heat set. So I think these are heat sets right here. I'm just going to verify on the repository. Yeah, you can adjust the tilt on it. It's kind of cool. Is a Tiny-T cheaper to build than regular Trident? You are probably spending less or the same amount of money just buying like a Trident kit. Because this version you'll have to self-source, and it'll probably cost you about the same because you're buying specific versions. This is the Rama idlers. Let's see. So zooming on that picture. Yeah, so the only heat sets on here are going to be on this piece, but we'll put in the assembly first. So for this, we have West3D's bearings. So these are Berserker bearings right here. You can tell because they're orange. This gets assembled very specifically. So there's no... Are there any shims? I think there are. There must be. There must be a shim. Is there... Ugh, man, is there a shim for these? Or is there not? It looks like there would be, and I would guess that there is. Does anyone know for sure if there is a M5 shim? I think I have some here. The diameter of the pins, they are 4.96. It should be. But I can measure for that for you. Yeah, there should be shims. Let's see. I don't know if the fastener kit comes with shims. I'm guessing it does. You might have some if not. Again, I'm kind of piecing this together from a bunch of different things. Oh, cool. This has knurled nuts. Huh. Interesting. The Stream Deck out. Stream Deck's over there. I just don't really have it set up right because I just switch scenes at most. But lots of little things I gotta set up. Here we go. M5 spacers. Spacers! The difference between a spacer and a washer is that washers are stamped with a flange and spacers are precision. Or at least hypothetically they are. Let's focus. Whoop, camera. Spacers, the final frontier. Let's grab 2 of those. I am pretty sure I did this for my other version. You talking about Rama? Yeah, I just like how they look, personally. If anything, they look better than the stock idlers. They really do. They're lower profile. Like, much, much lower profile. Like, that's it. That's all it sticks out. Versus the stock ones. So this look cool. This version has a magnetic front cover. So you can have a whatever design you want on the front. So for this, we have pins. You just source the pins. West 3D sells them. I think some other places might sell them. But I got these ones from West 3D. I got some for the Trident. I was going to do this on Trident. But I didn't know where they went. So I ended up buying some and I just never used them. So I don't know if you can buy these or if they have to be a specific size. So yeah, these are one of those small parts. So for this, we might have to drill this hole out of some, maybe. I think this is going to be a job for like NEMA hammer or enlarging the holes because it's a very, very tight fit. This is going to be rough. I remember this was rough on the other version because this hole was a little too small. So what I can do is these are 5mm. Should I take like a 5mm drill bit? Do you even have one? No, I don't. Remind me, future self, to buy metric drill bits. That'll make my life easier. This size. Oh, don't tell me it's the size with all the burrs on it. Yeah, it is. Let's see. I'm hoping to get this build done soon-ish. Sooner than later, within the next month. That's the plan. I still gotta get panels for it. That'll be a thing. But my plan is I'm currently set to go to Earth. So, if all things go well, this printer should be at Earth. Which is in exactly 2 months almost. So, I want to get it printing, I want to get it broken in and working well before I go. Too small. Caliper. Get the right size shaft. It's not the shaft. These are the right size shaft. It's just my holes are a little tight. And it was a huge pain to install them the first time. So I just want to make sure that the holes are good before we go any further. That was a 3/16. What's this size? What Polymaker? This is Polymaker's ASA Red. ASA Red. Not Galaxy. Just plain. Because the Galaxy Red is a little different color. Alright, so I'm just using a 13/64 drill bit to make it slightly bigger. Let's see if that goes in better. We want it to like slide in instead of needing to, yeah, there we go. That's better. Slide in with still some friction, but be able to slide in more by hand. So, once you have the pin in, I'm going to put the one spacer shim on the bottom. Press this up a little, not a lot, just a little. Keep yourself a pair of water pump pliers around. They seem to be useful for a lot of different things. These are just Nibex. Red was the wrong color. Red is the Voron color, actually. So, there you go. Don't drill the bearing. No, we're not drilling bearings. We're just drilling a little bit of the hole for this. Just a little. Because tolerances are just, you know, depending on your printer, you might have different tolerances. How the heck do you assemble these? I know there's a very specific way of getting these in. Oh, from that side, okay. So one side seems like it'll be able to fit in better. I'll press this up a little more. I apologize if you can't really see what I'm doing. One day I'll have a close-up camera. So like this, and press it up a little, and we're going to slide this shim spacer into the very top. And that should pop in. Should. There is space for it. Oh, I know what I have to do. Okay, yep. Okay. So before you put in that second bearing, you'll want to put in the shim on the top. You want to grab a new one and put the shim on the top because there's like a little groove for it. Maybe like slide both of them at the same time. Yeah, so kind of just shove that in the top there and then put this in. There we go. And then kind of take it around to align it. Is that aligned? Let's see. Looks like it. Yep, just like that. And then use your pliers. This is what I like to do to force stuff into place. So take your pliers and do this. Just gently kind of press it into place. And then you can go like this to make sure it's flush. And there we go. This is our front idler assembly. Nice and solid. Reamer set. Yeah, I have a set somewhere. I have some stuff from Earth that I just don't know where I put on brand. So let's do another one of these. Did I lose a pin? No, it's over here. This one should go a little bit smoother. Alright, see you later. Have a good night. If you have to go. Yeah, Pezlis in chat is doing a cocoa press. So I was getting a little bit of motivation to build this printer from watching her do the rails and stuff from that, or like the frame. That's a fun build that I would love to do. Unfortunately, I don't have a need for one. I'd love to have a need for one, but that is not in my printer plans budget. Let's just say I'd rather build like, oh, I don't know, a VZ-Bot or a 0G instead, because it's a printer. As fun as it is to print chocolate, I think it'd be amazing to print chocolate. I don't think my wife will let me, so let's not even bring it up. Damn, would that be fun. So once again, we put the shim and then the bearing, and then I'm going to put the shim first and then slide the bearing in. These rods are kind of tight, so the bearings stay in place pretty well. One of the mods you can do for these printers is called a pin mod, where you replace the idler bearings with pins like this instead of the stock screws, and that would hypothetically make everything a little more precise. I don't think it matters a lot for these builds, but that is something that you can look into. This thing's not aligned correctly. That should go in fairly easily. Looks like it's aligned. Try that again. Interesting. That thing is not 100% lined up. See what it could be. You can sort of hack by putting in a M5 into the top to line things up, because that's the same size as the pin. And then press the pin in. Kind of unscrew as you go. some reason, just not getting it to go through. I don't know why. It should go through just like that first one. There we go. Just wasn't lined up 1000%, so we got that in. Got both the shims in. We are good to go. I'm in Maine. Close to Mass, but Maine. Cool. So once that's in, do this part first. I messed up on my my other printer a little bit, but you'll want to put that in first because if you put in heat sets, it kind of anything that sticks up definitely blocks where that pin goes. So put in the pin and then do the heat sets. So you have a baggie of West 3D's heat sets. Welcome in, John Stern. I'm just going to dump these into this tray. So we'll definitely be using some of those. So for this, I'm going to insert it. And because it's right up against the part, I just barely insert it like this at an angle. And then I will press this in like that, just the tip. And then kind of eyeball the straightness. Looks good to me. And then do that for the rest of them. So just insert a little bit, hold it in place, and then kind of put the tip in the middle. Oh, my own screen. Put the tip in the middle at an angle, and kind of press it, and kind of, I don't know, play around with it until it goes where you want it to. Kind of like that. Go. And just try to make sure it's below. You want your heat inserts to be slightly below the printed part instead of slightly above the printed part. For this one, doesn't matter that much, but in general, that's what you're aiming for. And you can usually like take this and then push it up against the edge of your desk or your granite slab that you're building on. There goes the heat set. Keep going. Hoping to have this gantry on tonight and maybe even belted. That would be cool. Because the tool head's already built. So we can pretty much install the whole entire gantry. There's actually not a lot to this build. Especially since we have the the frame pre-assembled. I think that's probably one of the longest. That's like one stream just by itself. So there we go. That is in, and that is it for Rama idlers. Let me zoom out a little bit. Like so. So for the idlers, there's no bad way to install this. You just put it in. There's only one way it can go. All the way in. And then you put in this part. Now there are two ways for it to plug in. You want to line it up so you see the holes that will line up, and eventually we'll put a magnet in here. I'll just glue in after the fact, and then you put on a faceplate. Just the magnet right here, and it snaps on. It'll look like that. So pretty simple. Mine printed out with pretty much perfect pin precision. Perplexing. So that's that. Let's see. So we have these two screws. So there's one screw in here to hold this front piece on, and there's two screws to adjust. So we're gonna put this piece on first, which is a M3x10 or M3x8. See, I should have plenty of those. Plenty. Gonna find out which one it is. So many different parts. I was talking today on Digital Dragon stream about organization because he had a different kit that came with buttonhead that came with an organizer, kind of like a 40-piece part bin with a lid, and I thought that would be really cool to print one, just basic, right? Just a little organizer, just to be able to put each one in. There's someone that did a Gridfinity version, all labeled, but that's just a lot of printing for what's essentially just screw sorting. My tip for any LDO kit is only take out what you need, and as you take them out, put them in a parts tray. If there's a lot of them, just take out a couple and replenish as you go, but leave them in the bag if you can. That'll just save you from losing stuff. So M3x8s, we'll try that. We're going to screw this in. This just screws into plastic, so don't over tighten it. There we go. The cover has a slot for that, so that'll stick up slightly over the frame or over the print. Bob, $2. Love the color scheme. Thank you. We're doing Polymaker's ASA Red and Galaxy ABS Dark Gray. Actually printed out this in regular dark gray before I realized I had another spool of this lying around, so Galaxy it is. LED North South need to sort out the kit. They do everything so well. Yeah, exactly. I do agree. Having some type of fastener organization would be really nice. I don't think they have enough room to include one of those trays, but maybe they do. It could be cool. Maybe even something you print. Again, it doesn't have to be in the box, but something you can print and then put all your stuff in. Would be cool. Hey, Joseph, welcome in. So we have that on there. Let's do the same for this. Again, it's super simple to assemble these idlers. You just put it in all the way, and then line up the holes for the front, screw it in, or snap it in, holds itself. Grab one of these M3x8s, which I'm going to just dump a bunch in the middle here, and put half of them away. I probably have leftover fasteners from other builds. I've gone through 2 LDO parts kits so far. And West 3D essentially copies what they do for the parts kit in the baggies. So screw this in until it's screwed in. Don't over tighten it. And there we go. So there's these 2 right here. Then last step is M3x30. Do I have any M3x30s? I'm not sure if I do. I'm just gonna pull it from my parts bin over here. I buy a lot of spare parts kits. It's always handy to have those. So I have, like, for example, like this. This is a supplemental kit that has everything from 30 to 50. I actually bought this for those stackable boxes you can print. What is it? S-box on printables. I need some longer screws for that. So let's go. Oh, these are. Oh man, I want to use. No, I want to use socket heads. Because there is a difference in screw size, so use a 2mm hex for socket or for a button head, and 2.5mm for socket head. 2 for button, 2.5 for socket. And socket heads tend to strip out less, I feel. I'm gonna have a lot of 30s. So let's grab 4 of those. And we're using socket head here instead of button because the female side will be the head size is smaller, so it'll be able to fit into the front cover. So I think you have to use this style. So you just screw it in all the way until it hits the plastic, and then stop to the other side. I do have an electric screwdriver for this, but I'll do it by hand. But stuff like this does definitely benefit from an electric driver. I got these drivers from Alien 3D through one of their subscription boxes. I actually really like them. They're nothing like crazy special, but I like them a lot. I like the grip on it. Okay, so how these idlers work. You'll see there are two. I'll try to zoom in on this. I'll explain it once. So there are two screws. So look what happens if I only tighten one of them. It will start to, let's see, it'll start to pull up that one side. So you see how the gap on this side is less than that side? So it tilts the actual idler. And you can, you know, adjust these to get a perfect straight flatness. Is it necessary? Probably not. But this locks the angle in place, so there's no chance of it becoming skewed. Where on the stock idlers, they're fine, they work, but it can have the chance of being skewed. So I just like it. Honestly, I like how they look better. I like the low profileness of them. For me, they look good. So we are going to, so don't actually tighten them yet. Leave them loose because you want them at their loosest point. You screw them in to tighten them as you tension your belts. So leave these loosest. When you run your belts, you'll have the most amount of adjustability. So let's just repeat that for these two right here. You like black oxide fronting on a 3mm black oxide screws, or these things. All right. The question for this build, this is, you know, talking to the future, but if I'm going to hit world record speed benches on this, or close to, what material should I print? Any material. What material would be best to print for fast benches? I'll have a little bit of cooling, not a ton, but a fair amount. Not for looks, but for the strength. Okay, gotcha. ABS. Alright, well, generic ABS? Just like standard ABS? ASA actually has a higher melt index than ABS. Draft PLA. So Polyterra. Okay. We'll mess around with stuff, because I've never had a printer with this much cooling. So we'll be able to push it quite hard. So there we go. Those are our front two idlers. We have our rear mounts. So let me zoom right out or up into the gantry. We can start assembling this stuff right here. Most people use ABS for speed benches. Yep. That's what I've noticed. That's what I was wondering. So just like an ABS or ASA, we're going to test it, right? We're going to test the flow capabilities. We're going to test a lot of stuff in this printer. In fact, this is going to be the perfect little benchmark printer, just testing different materials. Okay. So in the Trident manual, let's see. Are we assembling anything yet? No. First, we need to do our nuts. Okay, in this, you don't want to mess up. I'm not going to mess this up for the third time. We are not going to mess this up for the third time. But there are differences for the sizes. There are some M5 nuts and there are some M3 nuts. Oh, I'm guessing that the tiny... No, hold on. Hold that thought. We're using Rama idlers. So the front... Okay, the front are all M5s. That is seemingly stock. And the rear is a stock Trident. So yes, we're going to use the stock arrangement for the T-nuts. Let's find them. Shouldn't be that hard to find. We have those and these. So these are a interesting type of nut called a roll-in nut. So they're roll-in T-nuts. They're not really T's anymore. They roll and lock into place. Let's sort of focus. The frame's just really dark, and the background is very white. So, these are M3s, and I also have to pay attention to where they're located too. Like which way the hole is facing. So in the front, we have M5s. Those are the easiest. Let's warm up with some of those. So we're going to put the hole facing the front, and then we're going to use a... oh wow, this is going to be a little difficult. We're going to use one of these to just push it in place. I am using DoubleT extrusions, not LDO extrusions, so these will have a looser fit. I've noticed that. LDO frames are very tight with these guys. So oh wow, these just go right in. So much easier than the LDO frame, but that also means that they're going to fall out easier. I'm going to do these on the upside down. I might just flip it upside down when I'm at that part. So let's do both sides. To be symmetrical. Let's see. There we go. It does hold in place. It seems to still work, even with the DoubleT extrusions. I would recommend getting this as a frame kit, though. So either having it custom machined, or if there is a kit for this printer. Actually, here's a question: is anyone in chat more interested now than when they first tuned in? Like, does this look like an interesting build that you would actually build? Looks like the top two are M5s. I can verify that by the holes. Can't really verify that by the holes, can I? Not really. Don't know why. I guess that's on one side. Are both sides the same? Oh, which way does this go? This side right here? Okay, just one of these is an M3. Just one on that side right there. Yeah, you are. Now, would you build the... Okay, actually, let me see. So this side over here, everything is an M5 for this side, but the bottom front one on this is an M3. The side pack has always intrigued you. Yep, me too. And I hang out with Kyle a lot, and I'd love to, you know, just build his part. I like to build community members stuff because it's fun. Be more interested. Yeah, well, you already have a regular version. It'd be intense to build this version. But, you know, it's another build they can do. Money wasn't a factor. Okay, well, if that's the issue. That's always the issue, right? Tempting, you have a bunch of the parts. Yeah, like, you know, okay, when you get into it, you'll still have to buy a lot of custom things. It's not a ton, but yeah, if you built a lot of printers, that's what I did for this. I actually had most of the parts on hand. I had to buy some variations of stuff. I just got specific things for this build. Looking for a new project build. Yeah, well, this could be it right here. All right, we have all of our top nuts in. So let's flip the frame around, just like this. Note that I'm working in the back, and I'm upside down. So I believe this one right here, the forward-facing one, is an M3. So we're only going to put one M5. This. Easier work on the bottom. And then I'll grab one M3 and put it in right now. Yeah, we're on YouTube tonight. Hopefully the quality is a little bit better too. YouTube does stream at 10,000 kilobits instead of Twitch's 6K. Oh, Ginger's trying to inspect the work. Oh, Ginger. Oh, Ginger. And that's the only M3 we need, so I'm going to put those away. So use cases for this printer over a V0. So if you're kind of in the market for a small printer, what would you want? Well, Voron V0 is a thing because a lot of people want a small, fast printer. Some people just build it for fun, but some people do want just a small printer. Personally, I still think that's a bit small, even if the largest thing you print is less than 120. In my opinion, it would be a little bit better to go for at least 150, so that if you want to print some bigger things, you can. My optimal size is 180. I do quite like 180, and I'd be very interested in building something like this, but 180. I do have plans on building a 180 Micron Plus, so that could be a future project. So because of that, I just went with the stock 150 for this. I'll give you my impressions on limiting myself to 150. But most stuff you can print on a 120. Most stuff can. But some things would be just a little bit, you know, too small. Or too big for 120. A little bit on the big side. 48 volt heated chamber. Yeah, we're going to have a heated chamber because we're running the motors at... We have quite the power supply for them, and they can handle quite a bit of current. V0 is for rapid prototyping. Well, if you want up, you gotta jump up. You can't just claw into me. I don't think I'm gonna go with the heated chamber for this. I think just a standard bed should be fine. We'll see how quick it takes to heat up. But we could add some type of chamber heater in the future. There's a couple ways to make it fairly safe. Do you want up or down? You want to stay down? Okay. Ginger wants to join us, but also wants to inspect the filament on the ground. You don't cantilever bed in the V0? Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to go through the work of building like a Tri-Zero or a salad fork, you might just want to look at the 2020 version. Just my suggestion. Do whatever is best. The benefit of a salad fork, though, is that you get everything you need right in the box as a kit. Okay, so what we're going to do now, while we have this upside down, is just fit or get the screws in their correct location. So this mounts like this. So I'm just going to move these so they line up. That. Then for this side, we have our idlers. Just going to move them so they line up. That should work. It kind of looks like they're... That work? I feel like that doesn't really work well. Do I need to put a T-nut in, or like a... Actually, does that line up at all? I kind of feel like having two of these right next to each other won't work. Did I have to use an M5 nut for this previously? Like a T-nut? Does anyone ever have trouble with that? With two of these? Like this? You can kind of see what I'm getting at here. But you see how with those roll-in nuts right there, you see how pressed together the furthest, it seems like that printed part is still too close. Is that gonna be close enough, or should I have one of these be a regular hammerhead nut? Does not look good. Yeah, I can't rotate this one though, because there's nowhere for it to go. Ah! Ah! What do you want to focus on? Oh, I have it selected. Okay, let's just do this. So yeah, what I'll probably do in this case, I think I ran into this problem before. Yeah, these holes need to be wider. I don't know why they're so close. There's so much room on this part that's a little bit unnecessary. Interesting. So yeah, let's just remove these if I can. These are always a pain to remove, but on the bigger extrusions, they're fine. And then we're just going to put in a M5 hammerhead nut. Might be a bit of a pain, but we'll work through it. I'll just remove them for now, and I'll put them in while I install them. But I don't want any chance of something being misaligned. I could remix the part, yeah. I'm not at this point because it's printed and everything's assembled. Yeah, the idler is backwards, but the hole spacing's the same on either side. I just like plugged it in. But yes, you're right. So what we're gonna have to do is just put a hammerhead in one of these sides, and I'll keep this one in. Ugh. Flip that over so it's back to this. I'm glad I caught that before. Because once you snap those in, they're kind of hard to get out. Go, take those out. Oh yeah, these come right out. Perfect. Just in this frame. On LTO, I had to actually disassemble the whole frame because they just do not come out. They're almost kind of permanent. Okay, so those are in. Next thing we have to put on the idlers. They're reversible. Does not matter which version or which side you put in. They're spaced perfectly so that they line up perfect. So pick one for one side. I'm gonna place it in like this. They snap in fairly firm. Don't be afraid to snap them in and slide it forward. I don't know where. I wonder if it hits this part. I feel like it doesn't. I definitely have a gap on one of the sides. Although I don't know. I don't know how much of a gap I need to leave. Theoretically, I need to push it out a bit. Oh. No. Actually. Oh, maybe that's it. It doesn't go right to the front, so maybe the front can be rotated. Maybe it actually can. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. And where I messed up on the first time. That would make a lot more sense. Does that show up on here? doesn't. Okay. So I'm gonna try that. So I'm gonna take this out. Again, it's kind of hard to take this out. Don't do it too many times. You're bending the actual part a little. Okay. So what I can do here is slide this nut back like that, and then put the other nut facing this way. Like that. So with this all the way to the front, and this like this, yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, it doesn't need to be all the way to the front, because it'll be pushed back. We'll have plenty of clearance. So yes, that is the official way to do it, is to put these both facing together for the Rama mod. And I don't think that's, no, the regular Trident guide says to put them both facing the same way. So interesting. So I'll do that again. Pretty easy fix. Gonna place another one in the other way. Keep forgetting how loose these are, because I'm able to just put it in by hand. I can literally roll it in with my hand instead of needing a tool. I'm not used to that. Oops, I put that in the wrong way. It's plenty of tool to get it out, but putting it in is easier. Cool. So let's do the same thing where I go through and align it. I don't know how far it needs to be, but I'm gonna guess the printed part's gonna stick out like halfway. Sure, I'll go with that. Just eyeball it. We can adjust it later. Put that like that, and that like this. And then same thing for this side. Cool. I'm gonna get these kind of lined up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be close. This is all just standard. Essentially, you can pretend like I'm building a standard Trident at this point. Which is the nice thing about this printer, and why I originally chose it, because I wanted to go with CNC'd motor mounts for the back. So I found this printer. I was like, huh, it's just a small Trident. That's perfect. You know, if I want to, I can put on a completely different tool head. I can do whatever I want with it. But just having that Trident motion system meant that I can do whatever the heck I wanted. I was having a hard time focusing on the frame. It's a little too black. Okay. So the next step, going back to the idlers, so I'm going to snap these in, and now I'll be able to screw them in. Perfect. That one goes in like this, and that one goes in like this. Perfect. It's actually a little loose, but it's fine. It'll be tightened. This is probably the one I took out twice. We need M5x10, so I'll go into my fastener kit, pull some M5x10s. Hey, Panzer... Patton? Twisted T, this can be an expensive stream series to watch. Oh, yes. Yes, keep an eye out. I should have a poll. Some type of feedback. How many people want to build this printer? Kind of like a group buy type of thing. Because I'd love to have a frame kit assembled or developed for this. There's already one for the standard Tiny-T. You can go out and buy one. But this frame is going to be different, and the whole build is going to be completely different once you start getting to electronics. Let's do it. Yeah. I want to see I want to see this printer supported like a stock Voron. And I think it would be cool if this printer went into the Printers for Ants page. Like, this could be an official Printers for Ants printer. That's just like a long shot, but I'm confident that people would build this. Just the feedback I've gotten already, just talking about it, like, oh, what is this? Is the small trident? Once you start realizing, I don't know, again, I like V0. I would build one, but I'd rather build a slightly bigger version. Just like a slightly bigger version. Lots of new projects. So there's still some work to be done on it. I'm essentially beta testing it right now, or alpha testing. This is the first one, so I'm testing it. The biggest change will be the side pack. So figuring out the best way of mounting it that supports the most amount of stuff. That's the goal. That part's been mostly figured out, but there's still a few parts that need to be created and tested. So I wanted the printer built to be able to test that stuff. So there might be a small gap in streaming. If you want to catch more of this content as I'm going, check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/zombiehedgehog. I'll probably be working on this over there, just, you know, designing and behind the scenes stuff. I'm also looking at bumping up my Patreon and actually doing some more stuff with it. So I might do some behind the scenes stuff. I have some ideas. I don't want to give too much of it away, but I want to do some behind the scenes content over on my Patreon. So if you're interested, check me out at patreon.com/hedgehogmakes. If you don't know, Hedgehog Makes is my brand image, and I am Zombie Hedgehog. So I've recently updated my... I actually have a Hedgehog Makes icon now. You'll see that on the the YouTube channel and actually all my platforms. I think it's a really nice design, and I'm happy to have it. But yeah, if you want some extra... If you want to support me, Patreon is probably the best right now. Wow, I can't get this in. It's like going in an angle. A little rough. I'm gonna take a 3mm just thinner bit and then use that to screw it in. Genius. Not playing nice. Disagreeing colors. Someone's disagreeing on colors. Do you have a preferred Discord? Yes, I do actually. I am an admin on the Polymaker Discord. So, naturally, that is my main place that I kind of hang out and, you know, moderate the content for. I've been with them ever since the launch last year, and have worked to hopefully make it one of the, you know, nicer Discords that you can get help with and ask questions, etc. But there are many Discords, many Discords that I collect, aka I join just in case. Oh man. I like any Discord that notifies me when something's happening. So I'll join a Discord just to get the notification. If you want to join my Hedgehog Makes Discord, I don't know if I have the link, but you can always send me a message on Discord, and I will add you to it. Or you can join my Patreon and get auto-added to my Discord. I don't do a ton with it, but I'm again looking to get some more behind-the-scenes stuff going forward. Okay, the front idlers are in. Now we're going to do the rear. So let's flip it upside down, or right side up. And then work on those. This one, we need to, well, do the rear extrusion. I could probably put that in first. What size is it? Okay, I have two. Two extrusions that are like the same length, but they're slightly different. One of them's correct and one of them isn't. Oh boy. I have to bolt the CAD. I have no idea what one's correct. There we go. Pandora's box. Yeah, it looks like an interesting build. I mean, I like all of these builds. They're all super interesting. This is just the first one that's like this. So, it's kind of fun. I'm not following what anyone else has done. I'm kind of taking bits and pieces of different things and combining it. And that is fun. More custom printer. Okay, so in the rear extrusion, which is like the smallest Trident extrusion ever, it is exactly 140, so it's the longer length one. Okay. So I have my, this is my rear extrusion. Look how small it is. You love the Trident style of printer and derivatives? Yes, it is the best design printer, hands down. When it comes to ease of building and ease of maintenance. I still think that a fixed Z is probably best, but having the ability to tram your bed does make sense. I'm like 50-50. I like both of them. This is easier to build, but I think the bugaboo behind me, where all three Z's are tied together and you never have to adjust it, I also see a lot of benefit in that. But then you have to deal with belts and the sourcing of belts. So if you're just doing a custom build, Trident style gantry and bed makes a lot more sense. But there's lots of designs out there, and that's the nice thing about 3D printers, is that there's a lot of different designs. They all do the same thing at the end of the day, but you can build whatever you want to do. Do I have this wrong? I feel like the cables for these motors are supposed to face the other way. Is that correct? Do I have these backwards? Like 98% sure they're supposed to face the other way. Right? Yeah, they are. I have them both facing the other way. I thought in the CAD it told you to do that. This is not correct, right? Unless you're supposed to run these down the rails? Yeah. How long are these? How long are the motors? That's a good question. So if I had... Let's zoom out a little. So if I had the motors mounted, which looks something like... No. Let's just put this one in to test it. Just partially. So if we had this in here... Okay, all the way. Is the cable long enough to go down and up? Because that would make a lot of sense. Run the back through extrusions. Yeah, the LDO kit doesn't. But this would just run like this, down and out. Oh yeah, there's plenty of cable. So let's do that. Okay. That's just different from my other kit. So we have that on there, and then we want to like slide in this. I don't know, there's different ways of doing this, but I like to have this on as one piece. So. Ah, shoot. I do need. Okay, never mind. I forgot my my T-nuts. I can just slide them in, actually. We'll just slide them in. Cool, so that'll be like that. It's just so cute. Now it's looking like a printer. And I should have just left this on for now. These are the high temp, which means that the cable's attached. The nice thing on the LDO kits, when they do the motors, they cut this high temp cable like here, and they added inline crimp. So when you're assembling it, you just have a little bit of cable to deal with, not this full cable. It's kind of cool. But I ain't crimping nothing if I don't have to. Not doing it. Okay, so that's like that. Let's go back to the manual. Screw them in. Hull effect. End stop. If using Hull effect board, remove the highlighted part, insert a magnet. Do I need that part? Did I print that part? Do I have that part? I don't know if I do. It's like, yeah, it screws in up through here. Do I need that part? I actually don't know. Is it an accent part? It is, okay. I don't think I printed it. I definitely didn't print it. But do I need it? Do I need the Y-axis end stop? I'm guessing I do. I'll be using sensorless homing though, so I don't know if it's necessary. Yeah, we're using sensorless, so I don't think you need that piece at all. It's not a switch, it's like it's where it hits here. But we'll just we'll ram it into here, they're both parallel, so yeah, we'll just do that, sure. Sure. So let's start getting this. And don't worry about the frame. The frame is square, the table is not. I did this on a different desk. Is it sensorless? Yeah, by default, I think it is sensorless. I didn't see any... Oh, actually. I could add end stops, but I'm not going to. We'll just do sensorless. Sure. At this point, I don't care. I don't care. We'll just do sensorless. I've done sensorless so many printers that I'm actually more used to sensorless than I am regular mode. Alright, we'll line that. Put the screws in. So these are all M5 by 10. More cables to manage. Yeah, it is. If you can add end stops, definitely add end stops. I 1000% recommend end stops. Sometimes sensorless can just drive you crazy, and there is a chance where it will fail because it thinks it's homed and it won't. So you'll have to be careful with that. You have to be careful. But yeah, more cables. I won't have any cables at all except for the toolhead. Just CAN. That's it. CAN and then the AB motors. That's the only cables in here, except for maybe light. U2.4 senseless. Oh yeah. I just went with the stock design. My 2.4 actually had West 3D's Glenfair. Had their custom cable kit, which was really nice, by the way. I really like that build. So I just went with the stock design. A little dangerous. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. So we're just getting these in. Just kind of hand tight, nothing crazy. I don't think these are even tight. Just enough to keep them from stopping to move. We can adjust later as needed. Alright, we're going to flip it upside down. Bring this to the front and to the bottom. So this one will have... I'm not using the Y end stop, I don't think. These parts should be the same, so I shouldn't need that. I also really like how this frame doesn't actually have a rear extrusion. It does, but it doesn't. Like, it uses the printed part as the rear extrusion. But then it also incorporates everything so nicely into this perfectly confined. It's so space efficient, I feel. It's cool. I really like it. This would be a button head 10mm. See if that comes in the kit. I thought I saw that. I don't know for sure. Whenever you're building these, I would recommend having 6mm. I don't know if I do. I'd recommend having a kit of fasteners like this on the ready, both in button head and socket head. So let's find a 10mm button head. I think this is length. Let's see, does that work? This might work. Spare parts. Yeah, it's good to have spare parts. I'll line up this T-nut. Yep, that's perfect. Good. So, normally you'd have a piece right here as a Y end stop, but I do not. I'm using sensorless homing. At 48 volts. That will be fun. The 5160s definitely support sensorless homing. I had to think about that for a second because I had my Rook and I was able to set that up. But when I switched to the servos did not support sensorless homing. Yeah, so make sure you have end stops when you do servo motors or closed loop steppers, not servos. That's in. Good. Now for the rear, on the bottom we have two on each right here. And it's always interesting because this extrusion sticks out further. That's normal. Completely normal. Did I print that weird part out? I don't think I did. I don't remember printing it. But there is a part that you print. I don't think I printed it. Oh. Is it an accent part for the Z? Must be. Alright, let's get that printed. It's not going to be a today thing, but I'll make sure I have that printed. There's just a part that goes right here. And actually, that's why you have some extra nuts in there. Perfect. So, what I'm going to do, because I already have this installed, I'm going to try something. So these are all M5s. So I'm going to just slot it in like this. And then just press it in. Slot in another one. And press it in. I should be able to just push this one. And that one lines up perfectly. Perfect. we're going to make sure this is like sort of straight just for looks. Have it centered. Same thing on this side. So as I'm building this, is there anything else that you would add to the printer? There's going to be some type of top hat that is part of the design. There is a very special rear filter. So it actually pulls air out of the back, or from the chamber, goes out through this little backpack mounted a carbon filter, and then blows through the top, which is down here actually. So that's a very interesting design. And 5x10. And that'll be nice to have. So if I want to print toxic materials, I'll actually have a filtered printer. I have yet to install anything on my Trident. I should. Keep reminding me to, but for now I'm not. Okay, let's get this in while it's upside down. Looks good on my end. Pretty much parallel with it. I'll add those other M5s too. Before I forget, they are facing outward. These will be for, I'll add them in later, it's gonna fall out. Those are for that rear connector piece. The goal is to get the gantry pretty much done today. We'll see how far we get. I might do some stuff off stream for this just to speed up the build. But I know I'm also going to need custom panels made for this. I have some panels, but we need to design this insert panel. It should be fairly straightforward, but that is not my field. And I want to make sure that before we make a permanent, you know, design for a panel, that there's no special holes that need to get cut through, anything like that. Because I might have the... Oh yeah, for a Trident, do they... Oh yeah, the cables do come out on each side, don't they? Oh yeah, okay. Alright. I was thinking of 2.4. 2.4 they go across. On the Trident, they definitely stick out like this and go down on the sides. I just have my printers mixed up. But yeah, I'll have those come out down to the bottom, then up and around. That's fine. For the CAN tool head, which will mount right in... I actually don't know where. I think like this. Oh yeah, it does mount like that, doesn't it? Not like that. So the cable should come in like this, and I can either route it down to the bottom through the stock hole, then up, which I think would be pretty good to do. I could also have a hole drilled in here as a pass-through. But to keep the machining simple for that piece, and just the overall design simple, it would make sense to just go through the bottom. And since there's wires coming out anyway, I don't think it matters. My thought. The side electronics is mostly for maintenance. given you don't have to do a lot. It's mostly for looks. Let's just be, you know, let's be honest. Although it's nice if I have to do anything here at all, I'll have access to it instead of having to flip it upside down, which is just nicer overall when you're building it. So yeah, we'll have the cables run to the bottom as stock and come up through the side into the printer. Seems fine. Cool. So that means the panel should be pretty much straightforward, just a square panel with some holes cut through. I can almost do that myself. Night Mad Cat, thanks for stopping by. So we have this part on. We need to get that offset extrusion piece printed. I think, is it not an accent piece? Do I not have it? Why would I have not printed that one piece? Definitely don't remember it. I don't think I printed it, so I'll have to double check. But that's just something that I'll do off stream. It's just connect. There's just an angle bracket that goes here. It's fine. It's not needed for the gantry at all. The next step is what? Rails. Sweet. Let's do some rails. So the rails on a Trident mount on the bottom. So we're currently upside down. And these are all 200mm rails. So I have my West 3D rails somewhere. Right here. Those are the long ones. Right here. 220. For a different build. 200. Perfect. So once again, we are using West 3D Berserker rails right here. So these are some of the nicer varieties of linear rails, better for high temp printing, and they're very smooth. I haven't had any issues with these. Since these are the smaller MGN9 rails, I don't like removing these carriages. I have issues where the balls do fall out. So for this specific build, I'm going to run lube through one of the holes. And that should be fine. I'm going to use my... I could also use... I think the side, you can actually push lube through, but I don't have the tip for this handy for that. So I'm just going to apply lube. I'm just using some EP2. I'm going to apply it through the back carriage. I would recommend taking this off if you can. That's not always possible. So I like to squeeze a little bit in and go back and forth until you can kind of feel it. You can definitely feel some extra resistance at first. And then you can kind of feel it's just a difference. So compare the stock rail, how it's very like loose and easy to slide, to this, which has a little bit of extra. It's like it's riding through fluid, which is exactly what you want. So no such thing as over lubing these. They'll just squirt out. So put as much as you can in now before you get it mounted. And that'll help it run nice and smooth for the future. That looks pretty good, feels pretty good. I'll move on to the next one. You can kind of see the lube starting to squirt out of the ball bearings. And when it does, that's usually enough. Oops, a big blob. I'll clean that up. Gotta get a towel holder for my shop. Okay, aside for now. So that's the easiest way to do it, and then just move back and forth manually. They'll get broken in over time, but that just gives it a first pass. You can also use a light oil on all these surfaces. You can even just like rub some of the oil on, but it's not super necessary if you use stainless rails. If you're not running stainless rails, then I would caution against making sure to oil your rails. Otherwise, they might rust. So for this, we're going to mount the rails every other hole. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 holes. These will take M3s. So we're going to put in 5 M3 T-nuts. Just going to put them in roughly, and then we can arrange them after the fact. So I'll put 3 facing one way, and then 2 facing the other way. Just keep it symmetrical. Semi-symmetrical. I gotta fix this desk. It's just not flat. I haven't done a lot of work to getting the desk flat. Have you tried leveling your desk? No, I've not. Alright, I'm gonna put this rail next to it, and then put it where it's supposed to go. It's like a perfect fit in here. So you're gonna push this rail all the way up against this back extrusion, because that's where you're homing. So pushing that back up against it, just placing it to the side. Just move these so they're every other hole. It's not necessary, nor I don't think it's actually recommended to put them in every single one, because extrusions are not precision, so you want to mount them as little as needed. Okay. Now that those are on, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to wipe up some of the lube. It's like a bit too much. You can just put some oil on it after. But for the meantime, I'm just going to wipe it off. Who modded the side pack for Tiny-T? Technically, I did. But it's a collaboration between me, DoubleT, and kyledavis. I did the rough CAD for it all, but we kind of worked on it together, me and Kyle. Alright, these are assembled with M3x8s, not 10s. So we gotta find the... actually, these are 8s. Are these 8s? Are these 8s or 10s? I can never remember. What is a 10 supposed to look like? Those are definitely 8s. Got one of those. So starting in the very middle, put in a fastener. I might do the same thing where instead of using this, I just use just a bit. So this will be 2.5. To screw it in. Oops. I also didn't print off the alignment block. So that's definitely something I will do after the fact and then get it all aligned. But for now, I'll just eyeball it. Get it in loose. This is something fairly easy to adjust after the fact. In fact, you usually want to adjust it after the fact anyway. But getting it nice and centered to begin is always recommended. So start off by just loosely putting in all the screws once you have a couple in. Then you can remove these protectors to keep the carriage from falling off. There's no way of doing that now. Is it going to release for Is it going to be released for Tiny-T, or is it a one-off? That's a good question. I don't know if that's been decided yet. Currently, it's a mod for a Tiny-T, but Sidepack is its own thing. It's kind of its own printer. I think this is different enough from the stock build to where it is worth being its own printer. Just because it's very different, but it's not, so I'm not sure. That's definitely something we'll have to work out with the team. I don't know how that stuff works out. Okay, so for this, I'm sliding the rail all the way so that when we home the printer, it'll hit this printed part, if that's how that works. I think it will. The actual... Actually, is this how this goes? Or do I have this backwards? Am I going crazy here? Oh! Oh, wow! Is this backwards? No. Oh, I have the printer upside down. I have it completely upside down. No one caught that. The printer is not currently upside. It's so small. I keep forgetting what orientation it's in. So I mounted it upside down. I was gonna say it mounts underneath. So remove all this and redo it. Not the big of a deal though. QGL, yeah, QGL. When you get everything aligned right, when you have a proper probe, I'm actually kind of having trouble with clicky no glue on my Trident. I might have to swap over to PCB clicky. It's just not consistent. So I wanted to do PCB clicky to start with, but I wanted to try out the experience of doing stock clicky. My professional recommendation, get PCB clicky. Just use PCB clicky. Don't even bother with the regular clicky. But do bother flipping your printer the right way when you install your rails. That is recommended. So once again, this is essentially just a small Trident right now. Nothing, nothing really special. We did put Rama idlers on the front. Those are my favorite, based off of looks, and then the performance is hypothetically better. Hypothetically speaking. Right, let's see. So we're going to have 3 facing the front and then 2 facing the back. It really does not matter. But there we go. And in the same sense, I'm going to put a rail right next to it, facing the back. And then move the T-nuts into place. So when I go to screw it in, they'll all be lined up perfectly. Okay. I'll use this one since all the stuff is already in. And I can use the regular driver. Yay! Clicky BC is very nice. Yep, it's nice. Just go tap. Also, yep, I've heard a lot of people have had good luck with tap. I just didn't want to push it when it was still in beta, and I haven't tried it yet, so I like to typically recommend stuff that I've tried. But since a lot of people have had fairly good luck with with tap, I'd say go for it. Go with printed tap. Okay, so right now I'm just kind of eyeballing it. It's not perfectly aligned, but I'll start by screwing in the middle, second, and then alternating, working my way inside to outside to make sure that the extrusion isn't skewed when it gets tightened up. Make sure that it can still run straight. It should work fine. I don't know. I probably actually should center the rail because the balls don't come out all the way. What do you guys think? Center this rail between these two pieces or have it touching this? I want to center it because I'm remembering that the balls don't go all the way to the outside, and you're better off having it centered, not touching the plastic part. Seems correct. That looks better. You have many issues docking and undocking. Tap has been amazing. Did you have PCB clicky or regular clicky? I usually have no issues with PCB clicky. I'm able to dock and undock at 400 millimeters a second, and it works very, very repeatable on the 2.4. Is Tap not 1.0 yet? I think it's still in beta. Don't quote me on that, but I still, you know, it's definitely something you can do, but do note that you'll probably have to reprint some parts eventually to fix what could have issues. It's just not tested long term. That's the issue with Tap. It's just not fully tested. When you're talking about production environments, if you don't need bleeding edge, then just go with Tap. If you want to try out, or sorry, go with clicky. If you're doing this for fun, consider Tap. If you're going for a speed printer, probably go with clicky or no probe. This printer, I would not need a probe, but I do because of the tri bed leveling. I need some type of probe. I can't just go with no probe. So I might not need to run a bed mesh, but I definitely need some type of probe. PCB works good for Z-tilt. Mine does. Flipping this part around. This is slightly magnetic, which is useful. It's kind of cool how Voron puts their rails on the bottom, because no dust will accumulate. Kind of a cool design. And it's hidden. Has kind of a special look to it. It's kind of, I don't know, yeah, it's kind of hidden. I just really like it. I know this will be my third Voron gantry, and every time I'm just impressed. I do kind of prefer EVA 3. I like EVA 3. It has better cooling out of the gates, and is a little bit more mod friendly versus something like Stealth Burner. But I run my Stealth Burn on 2.4 for PLA, and with a Delta, does it have a Delta fan? Yes, it has a Delta fan. I have been pleasantly surprised with how well it cools. Something I was not completely expecting. Hold on. Yeah, go in. Resistance not straight. Yeah. Because these are loose, they can come at an angle. Nomi Shroud Self-Burner mod has better cooling stock. Has that actually been tested by someone that's not Big Tree Tech? Like, how do you test that in real world? Like a bridging test? But who's actually run that and then felt that it has better cooling? Lube in this hole. Like, clean that up. Getting better bridges with it. That's interesting, and you know, their marketing did say that it would improve. I was skeptical, and the reason why I was skeptical is, why would... I've heard that, you know, Stealth Burner went through a lot of testing and design to make it the best possible cooler. But the more that I think about it, it seems like there can be improvements to it, especially if Big Tree Tech is able to release a random product that blocks airflow, but also gives you better airflow. Kind of weird, eh? It's a neat product. Personally, I wouldn't run out to get one, but it's kind of cool. Adds a little bit extra bling, and a lot of these are show builds. They're just passion projects. Self-burn intake doesn't work as well when the tool head is moving to the back of the printer. You mean because it's moving out, it can't, like, it can't suck in air? Okay. Interesting. But wouldn't that be the case for any fan, like the opposing direction? Or maybe is that why dual opposing fans are better, because in either direction, you know, either way it's moving, it's forcing air into it. Never thought about that. Yeah, the printer moving, forcing air into the fans. Huh. Interesting. So dual opposing fans are probably the best then. Even with Eva, it's dual fans, but they're facing the same direction. Although one of them is staggered, so maybe it works. CPAP, yeah, CPAP is the solution for sure. It's the new Stealth Burner CPAP cover. Oh, it's interesting. Father's Day build or gift, so you couldn't build it. Yeah. Well, it's still cool. It's still pretty cool. I like it. It's an interesting concept. Okay. So theoretically, I would align the rails, but yeah, we're not going to. Ooh, Z-axis. Already on the Z-axis? Do we not put the gantry in yet? I guess not. I guess you want to do the Z-axis? The only thing is I don't have this piece connected at the top, but that can be done after the fact. Yeah, let's work on the Z-axis. Just following the stock Voron design. So I forget that the gantry is saved for last. It kind of makes sense. You get more working area. Off to bed. Alright, have a good night. So I'll let you guys vote. Do you want to do the feet first? I have some feet. Or do you want to do the Z-axis? And while you vote on that, I'm going to install some heat inserts for the Z-axis. It's like this part right here. Is this... what part is this? Oh, this is for the gantry. We're not at that point yet. This one? What is this part? Interesting. What part is this? I have no idea. Alright, here we go. This one. When you had the tools to make things perfect. Line out pays off the end. Getting a bit late. Yes, it is. It sure as heck is. As always. But I want to do as much of this build on stream as possible, so that's what we're gonna do. And it's a Saturday night. Sunday morning. Feet first? Okay. We'll do the feet. The feet are pretty cute. You'll like them. Right now I'm just installing the heat sets for the Z cable chain. The only cable chain in the printer. I should have some leftover cable chain I can use. Should be able to. Do I have any? Hopefully I do. I'll have to buy some. Alright, so feet. The feet are pretty interesting. So they're like stock Voron feet, but they're stubby. They're pretty cool. So what we need to do first is install the accent piece on there, because accents. Lunchtime on Sunday, oh my god. We have feet. I'm using the stock, well, I like this style of feet. It's called like guitar or amplifier feet. These seem to work well, and I like how they look. But they're not too grippy like some of the other feets. Like they're pretty good, but they're not too good. Alright, so for this we have these pieces right here. They're just accent pieces. Makes it look cool. Purely aesthetic. When am I supposed to install feet? Like way later in the build, right? We're using an M3x6 button head. Okay. M3x6 button head. I definitely have those. M3x6 button head. Perfect. I'll dump these into the organizer. Go. And screw them in. So there's two different orientations. That is incorrect. That is correct. M5 by 30. You want to do an M5 by 30? How's it going, Liz? You working on the cocoa press still? Oh no. Eat food at home by yourself? Yeah, I had to do that today. Getting your bet on? Yeah, we were racing, me and Liz. So Liz is building a beta cocoa press, and I still have to order panels for this printer, so it's not gonna be done in a fashionable amount of time. I'll probably get some stuff installed just to have it installed, but I will need to, you know, have a panel. I'm getting all these panels redone in ACM. I'm not happy with the ABS panels that I got, so we're just gonna go straight for ACM because this is a show build. Maybe with some extra flair too, so we're working on that. kind of like how the gray is galaxy, but the red is not galaxy. It really makes the galaxy and the gray stand out more than if both parts were galaxy. So, since you're screwing this in the plastic, make sure that you're not over screwing it. Just note every time you have to screw something in the plastic. Hey, 2 feet. Third one. No really major point of putting the feet on first, but I think it looks nicer with the feet on. Not necessary. Save wiring for after previously. Oh, we're not even getting close to wiring today. We are not wiring anything at all. Definitely not. During the streams, I might do a little bit of work. Remember that this is not a start to finish instructional guide. This is more of a, hey, this is what I'm doing as I'm doing it type of thing. More of a build log, update log. But if I do anything custom, I'll try to explain what I did in as much detail as possible, so that maybe someone else would benefit. I'm probably only building one of these. If for some random reason, you know, a full kit came to my door with the intention of building it start to finish, then I would. But for now, this is the only one I plan on building. So we'll keep it at that. Maybe I'll serialize one of my printers. Maybe. I think I'm just gonna serialize the Trident and get it over with. It doesn't really matter. You lurking? Hopefully you guys are still enjoying the build. If you have any questions at all about anything 3D printing related, now is a good time too, as I'm just building this. Why are there 2 holes in here? Why are there holes? Oh, to screw into the frame. Okay, alright. So for this, looks like we're gonna use, I'll dump some more of these in. These are the M5 by 10 that we use for these, or is it a different size? Let's see. The actual part screws into the frame with M5 by 10. Okay. Oh. How the heck do you screw that in? Kyle, what the heck? How do you screw that in? So it was supposed to screw in originally through this hole. Okay. With magic, I guess? Magical screws. Okay. Oh. Maybe we'll go to the overhead for this part. So we're going to do this side first. So there's 2 ways of it mounting. There's like this U shape. The U is going to be on the front and back. So it'll mount like this. Which means we need a M5 here and an M3 here for T-nuts. Ball end. Oh, I know. I know. Still, though. Come on, man. Yeah, so this will face with the hole in. And then I'll grab an M3. Full crimp connectors. How do you crimp the small ones? Well, how small are you talking? There's a couple different standards. Looks like this will face out. So M5 in, M3 out. Get that lined up best as possible. Actually, yeah, flip it upside down. Get it lined up. Smart. M5 should be easy enough to screw in. But the M3, let's see. So M3 by 8 socket head. This. Yeah, I guess the ball end, it would work. Even with the non-ball end, it does work. Get this squared up as much as possible. As you screw it in, use your fingers. You want to feel if this is flush right here. Okay, M5. One of these. Kind of drop it in through here. A little awkward, but it works. And then grab the wrench. There's a hole for it. Grab the right size. I say wrench. Fastener. Driver. And screw it in. Get it all lined up. There we go. Once that's on, then you're going to take a... Oh, does that need a nut here? Yeah, I need a nut. We'll do that after. But you put a nut there, and then you put a screw through. So that's the feet. I'll switch back over to the close-up camera. I'll do this. That. M5. M5 facing in. That's lined up. And M3. Are the gray pieces cosmetic? Yes, they are. I was saying that a bit earlier. They're purely cosmetic. But it allows you, well, it would even print if it was one piece. It'd be fine. But yes, it's pretty much cosmetic. The printer has to look a little bit cool, right? Just because they're functional parts doesn't mean they can't look cool. And that's what I really like about Voron, is that their parts are very basic overall, but they're still stylized in a way that gives it some flair. I don't know, this is a very specific style to Voron parts. For this one, we're going to drop it in, and we can kind of just screw in an angle on the side. Even without a ball end, it does work. Kind of like straight on. Just at the right angle. A ball end would be slightly better. Although I don't like tightening stuff down with the ball end. It tends to strip the nut. There. 5 in here. A little bit of a pain to get in, but that's what you get for having a low printer. So, why are these feet shorter than a typical Voron? If you built one, you'll note that the feet are probably about twice the length. This is a half-height skirt because there are no electronics in the bottom. They're all on the side. There's going to be some cables in the bottom, and there's going to be motors on the bottom. So, we're going to have the bottom panel on the printer. When does that install? How does that install? Does it go down? I have no idea. We'll figure that out. But it'll have a bottom panel that will put all of the... We'll probably run one of those cable channels through. Yeah, and then like route the cables through. That would make sense. Yeah, nothing major on the bottom. There's going to be no bottom panel for it. Just the bottom panel and then empty void. So this is just for looks. And one of the mods I was thinking, let me know what you think about this. So you know how the Trident Z is? There's the motor in the back right here, and there's the 2 motors here. So you have this big empty space. What if you had a drawer? Like a little drawer that pulled out in the front? Just to store stuff. Kind of like the Creality one. I thought that'd be kind of neat. You can store some nozzles in there, maybe some drivers or extra tools. I don't know. Be interesting. A drawer will rattle at speed. Could. That's possible. What if it was like on a linear rail? Right, like a little rail. I'm just throwing stuff out there. We had the idea of, on the side, instead of electronics being there, it was actually a spool holder that pulled out on a drawer. Hey, Viking. Yeah, still going. Trying to get as much stuff as done as possible. Probably going for another half an hour. I was hoping to get the whole gantry done, but it looks like you do that last after the Z-axis. So we're doing some feet first because, I don't know, feet. No real reason. I want to get them installed and out of the way. Just in case. And because they're non-stock, I wanted to do them on stream. I could, theoretically, just not put the feet on, so it'd still slide around a bit. It's actually nice to have a non-grippy surface when you're working on the printer. But it's better than sliding around on the frame itself. So these do screw in from the side just well, keeping it lined up as best as possible. We can modify this later if needed. I think we'll even have a custom button coming in that we can put on the front skirt. That should be a thing. But once again, if I stream next time and it looks completely different, that's probably because I did some of the work off stream. And I probably will. I'd love to do everything on stream, but I have a lot of projects that I'm working on, and this is one of the ones that I want working sooner than later. Good enough for now. This frame is not 1000% perfect. It'll be good enough for this application. I'm realizing that on a Trident, the only necessary thing to get lined up perfectly is these 2 extrusions. You just need them to be so that these carriages are always on the same plane. The carriages do not need to be perfectly angled correctly, so this extrusion could be angled, and you can offset that with the, by moving the extrusion, or sorry, by moving the rail. But you just want these tilted correctly. That's it, tilted correctly at the same height. So I did my best to try to get them correct, but I think they're slightly off. This is not going to be I don't know. I'm gonna try to get as good as possible, but this might not be the most accurate printer in the world. It'll be good enough, like plenty good, but it could be improved. That's all I'm saying. I'm striving for very good and not perfection, because perfection is very difficult. Other builds that I have going on right now, I'm still working on the West 3D Rook. We have the kit released as beta, and we have the files released as an open beta. So people are building the West 3D Rook right now, and I'm reporting it to be pretty good. We're making some small changes on the design, but it will evolve as it progresses. I'm also finishing up the Fabrico Rook. We have a little bit of work to do on that. There's some parts that need to be redesigned before I continue. I just haven't gotten around to it. And then I'm also going to rebuild the Rook 2020. I'm not sure. That's a good question for you guys in chat. Dropping everything. I have to rebuild the Rook 2020. Number one, what size should it be? Right now it's an extra 50 millimeters over stock. I think it's a good size. But I could play around with going taller. Definitely. That's an option. You know, seeing how tall we can make a Rook 2020. I do think an extra 50 is perfect, though. I can also do some other stuff. You've heard good things with West 3D Rook Mark 1. From me or from other people? I haven't even built one yet. I'm like mostly built. It's the printer right there. You can kind of see the bottom of it. Like the side pack printers, makes it look like an oven. Yeah, I've heard that. Like an oven or like a PC. The first one that I really liked was Hevort. I love that design. I think Annex? Does Annex do a side pack or a backpack? From other people. Oh, that's good. Always good to hear feedback. And the design's not even like done. It's pretty good. It's pretty polished because we went through a lot of revisions in the CAD before releasing the design. Max cooling Rook with curtain cooling. Yeah, that could be possible. Could do like a Bowden 2020 with just, you know, just the tool head, kind of like the original one. Then have the side cooling fans, but Could also steal. I really like this design. Where to put this part? This is the side cooling for this printer. I like it. It's very clean. I kind of want to use it. It's almost might be perfect too. But this design can be modified pretty easily. You just extend this right here if you want to make it taller. What size fans that use? I think 60-15. It's somewhere, but it's not a 50-15. It's like slightly bigger. Annex can do rear or side mounts electronics. Okay. But either way, no difference in parts or frame. Oh, so you just like twist it. That's cool. Yeah, I think side makes the most sense. I don't know why. If I had to pick one. I feel like there's more stuff you can do behind the printer. I can mount a spool holder to this too. I'm not going to put these feet on yet, but they screw on with a nut and then you press them on. I'll just keep it like this just for now. Add a little bit of extra flair. There we go, that's what it looks like. Still not even. Side mount K3. You do a Trident box like that. Yeah. Yeah, again, this is called Sidepack. if you want to build a Voron Sidepack as an official build, Fabrico does sell the frame kit in 250 and 300, I believe. So you can do either one of those sizes. It's pretty beefy as well. This is a very miniature version. The full size has 2040s for this right here and right here. It's extremely beefy. So that might contest for like the most rigid Voron frame. So like the 250 Trident Sidepack. That might be more rigid than this. But this one has shorter extrusions. It's lower profile. It's just small. Like overall, this is a small printer. And it's a bit bigger than like a Rook, but it still doesn't take up a lot of space. I would probably consider mounting a spool in the back. I don't typically like rear mounted spool holders, but because of how not deep it is, it's not that bad. So I can have it like right in the back, even right in the middle here, right here in the Mac. Have it go right here, have it come straight up and into here. Would that work? Something like that. I don't know. We can figure it out. What size bed does this use? This uses a 350. Sorry, 350. 150 bed. It's a very specific bed for this printer. This is one from Mandela. I'm missing a screw here. I dropped it, but that's what I'll be using for this build. You can modify it as needed. I also have a 160 solid fork bed that would probably work in here too, but I'll go with that one. You're waiting for a current print finish. Do a Sidewinder spool for your 2.4. Yeah, I have my 2.4 is actually mounted right on the front because I have no panels, and I'm just using a regular 2020 spool holder. Actually, it's the stock Voron one. I just mounted it on the front, like right here. So my 2.4 is mounted here. The Trident is mounted on the side right here, and I feed it up around here and then back. So that could be an option too, putting the spool on the front here. No space in the actual frame. If you do a Trident 300 or 350, you can put the spool in the rear. It's a very cool design. So I consider a Trident 300 just for that. Okay. So what is next? It's kind of eyeballing it. The Z-axis. So what goes into the Z? There's not a lot. I'd like to get it over with. Looks like we do... I don't have the guards for the rails. We'll YOLO in this one. Your 2.4 is if you have a dryer next to it. Yeah, I definitely want that option. Again, we'll be running some... I don't need a dryer for most materials, but if I wanted to, I could. For speed printing, I probably wouldn't. I would want to feed it off of a very frictionless spool holder. But I think mounting it on the side and then having it wrapped down like this in the back is just like a U. It goes in like a U. I think that's probably the cleanest belt path. Or, not belt path, filament path that you can do. Just like a wide arc in the back. Mainly print ASA, ABS. It's nice to have it drying. Yeah, it also prints better. It should hypothetically print better too if it's being actively dried. Like pre-warming it. There's some science behind it. I'm not gonna get into that, but drying your ABS and ASA will make it print better for sure. Oh, show. Okay, so I don't have that. I guess we can start on the joints. Oh, did I print the accent pieces for the joints? That'll be the stopping point if I didn't. I definitely did not. What even did I print? I printed the toolhead out and some covers. I don't know what this part is. I guess for a PCB that I don't have. Yeah, let's do that right now. Let's print off all the parts that I need in accent. We should probably wrap this up for the day. Parts on here still. Spacers for something? I don't know what these are for. No idea. But let's delete everything on my bed. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm just going to talk through it. Tiny-T, STLs. This is for the Z assembly. Do I not need... I might not even need that. What part is this that I'm referring to? Yeah, I don't... do I need it? Yeah, I think there's a part that might go on here. Like an accent piece for this. Did I just print it? Is there not one? Let me look in the CAD for the printer itself. That's always a good thing to do. So for the Z assembly, let's Z. Yes, there is those parts. There are accents. Are they just not in the folder? Might not be. Water mount. I don't think that those are in there at all. No, they're not. So, oh, that's a Z assembly. Maybe it's not the Z. Maybe it's something different. Electronics, gantry, skirts, XY joints. No. Definite extras. Is it? Z screw covers. Is that the one? Oh no, what are those? Z screw covers. Huh, those look neat. Never seen those. Guess we can print them. Air filter, we still have to print that. Panel clips, stealth bed. Interesting. Wagos, door hinges. Nope, none of that stuff. Electronics, gantry, skirts, top hat. Yeah, it seems like those aren't included in the STL list, so I'm just gonna go back to the Trident and print out the Trident parts for that, because once again, everything we've done so far is exactly like a Trident except for the feet. It's just smaller. Like, it's actually physically smaller. And for the AB joint or XY joints, they'll just be a different size hole pattern. That's it for this specific build. So if you are building this and you are using MGO9C instead of the stock H rails, we have custom parts for that. Kyle has made some modifications to the stock parts. Alright, STL files, Trident. This is going to be in the Z assembly. And what are these? Are those right? I think those are the right parts. Left and right. Does anything go in the back? Is there an accent part for the back? Done for tonight. Alright, yeah, I'm heading out to... I'm just going to get some parts printed, do overnight. And I'll probably do a little bit of work on it tomorrow. And we'll continue the build on tomorrow night. Because I wouldn't stream again until Tuesday. So I want to crank this out. where is the Z? The rear piece does not get an accent. Okay. It just doesn't get an accent killer. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's how that print works too. It moves the... Oh, the stock Z on a Trident goes off to the side, and this one goes front to back. Okay, that's different. And do I have this Z bottom holder yet? Don't know if I do. Let's print that. It looks like a custom part for sure. We have those. I need 3 of these end stops. I'm just gonna print them. These prevent the rails from coming off the top or the bottom, wherever they are. Let's see what else I might need. So looking at all the accent parts in this CAD, there's not a lot, but I want to make sure I have them. There's a custom insert for here that I don't think I printed. This is called gantry AB drives wire cover. Will this have handles? No, actually, it won't. I don't think you really need handles for it, but we can figure out something. There's a custom top hat for it. So maybe you can put panels in the top hat, like on the sides, but yeah, that suck. It would be nice to have panels though, because it's always so hard to grab a printer like this, but I should be able to grab it from the bottom. Oh yeah, there's no panels. Good point. You should probably add some type of handle, maybe just on the sides, like 2 on the side. Might work. Although there's a door here. We'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah, there's also a door. Oh yeah. We might have to have a custom side panel for this because it's going to swing out. So I might have to do the same style as the front on the side. Unless I just use a standard like clip system. Yeah, that could be fine too. Just use like panel clips. So the panel just pops on and off as needed. Done tomorrow? Alright, sweet. Looking forward to it, Liz. So going back to the... Get some legs for it. Legs? For this printer? Already has legs. Alright, there's my folder. So we have STLs. I'm looking for the Z assembly. Drag chain bottom. So I must already have that. I think it's supposed to be an accent color. Have some sleep. Alright, Maker Viking. Have a good sleep. Okay, on the files, it does look like those are accents. So the Z cable chain thingy should be an accent piece. Ooh, this even has a nozzle wipe and a bucket. Ooh, fancy. Oh yeah, it looks like the gantry moves way far back, which is good because we have clicky. Almost 8 a.m. I know. 8 a.m. time for sleep. Cool. So we'll do the drag chain top and bottom and an accent color. I just printed off a bunch of stuff just to have. So that makes sense what those parts are now. It's nice to look in the CAD too to see what everything does before you actually build it. Other functional accent pieces. Are there any other parts? I don't think so. Looks like there's only one cable inlet for the bottom. Is that true? I haven't looked at the panel at all that comes with the kit. I did buy the panel kit from Mandela, but I don't love the ABS finish One side's very textured, which looks okay, but I'd rather have the flat black look of ACM. I think those are all kind of the same. Okay, there's only that one other piece on the side that is AB wire cover. Okay. AB wire cover. That's in the gantry. AB drives, nope. XY joints. Front idlers, XY joints. Maybe it's in extras. Printed, umbilical, pigtail, stern relief, A wire cover. Aha. There it is. So that'll cover the wire that goes through here. We'll have a nice umbilical coming out right here. Take one last look at this printed parts list. There is some type of cover here. It's a Z assembly stealth bed. Oh, can we add lights to this? I see. So we could potentially have a light right in the middle of the bed. I like it. Yeah. Let's print off that accent part though. Extras. This is stealth bed. And the main body is an accent color. Cool. It kind of prints like a self burner, so you'd like put an insert in there. Hinges accent. I'm not gonna do anything with the panels yet. I'll figure that out as we go. But I just want to print off the functional parts to get this moving. In fact, I'll probably this weekend we'll have this. I wouldn't say moving, but ready to move. Like, there's not a whole lot to this. It's mostly just the wiring. I would like to get the CAN bus configured and all that like stuff done. I'll probably do that off stream, just so I don't fiddle around with it too much on stream. So I apologize about that, but I'll at least explain what I've done and you know, explain the process. All right, well. Looks like that is the main set of parts that I need to print off. I'm going to do that now because I can't do a whole lot without them. I guess I can kind of see how this works. So wiring for the tool head. That'll be interesting because we're going to be using... Oh, hopefully this wire is long enough so I don't have to recrimp it to plug into the CAN bus. I haven't figured out how this is supposed to be wired. So this is the Dragon Burner, and I have no idea where to route this cable. I just don't know. Crimping is fun. I know it is, but I'd rather not. So we'll see. This should just plug right into the CAN bus board. Oh, that's right. I also have to print out an adapter for that, I think. Unless it comes in the kit. It might come in the kit. It has like a standoff that you put into the motor screws. Yeah, I think that's the case. Okay, well, I'll do that later. I think that is it for now, so let's wrap it up. This has been the first build of the Twisted T, named after the Tiny-T, Tiny Trident, but a little bit twisted. So this is where we're at right now. We have the AB motors mounted. We have the front idlers mounted. We have the rails for the y-axis mounted. Great minus the red. I like it. I like it. I like that you don't like it. You can build your own whatever color you want. Looks like we're leaving some marks on the table because I didn't put the feet on yet, but I'll just do that off stream. You just drop in some M5 nuts into here and you screw on the feet. that's about it. Doesn't look like a lot. It really doesn't. But we spent a lot of time making sure everything's perfect. Oh, that's right. I gotta print out the spacers for this to make sure that that prints correctly. So, did I print that yet? No, I didn't. Okay. Let's do that. That should be in the regular Trident set. I'll just print those. If you get a frame kit coming, I might. I will do my best. I will do my best. I really like the space gray look, so I would do like a black and a space gray. Okay, so it looks like Voron, STLs. Alright, so Trident. What do I need? Is it extras? Tools? Yeah, tools. And then the MGN 9 guides. So I just need 2 of those. Because everything is 9 on this printer. Perfect. Slice that and send it to the printer. Sweet. So thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a little bit of progress done on this. We'll have some parts printed. I will go through all the parts again and make sure that I have at least enough to get this section done. And for this section over here, well, there's still a little bit of work to be done. I have to finalize how all the electronics being mounted, but we're going to have 2 UHP power supplies on here, or if you're doing this by yourself, there would be just the one power supply mounted kind of like this. So the idea is to mount it like this, or have not, figured it out yet, but it could mount like that with the board in the front. Either way works for me. We'll see. But this way would allow airflow through, a little bit of airflow through the UHP power supplies. Although I don't know, I don't think it's going to matter that much, honestly, because these are designed to run passive. We'll see. So either a vertical power supply with all the connectors in the bottom, or sideways. I'm kind of leaning towards this, so that we can run all our cables right up into the control board if it's in the front. We'll see. Lots of options. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to West3D for helping out with some of the parts for this build. Thank you to LTO for sending over the motors for the build as well. I'm super excited to be using these new superpower motors. Testing out them at 48 volts. That's going to be a lot of fun. I've never run anything at 48 volts. This should be a very rigid printer, so we should be able to push the whole thing quite fast without needing all-wheel drive. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you later. Goodbye. If you liked this build series, make sure to check out the Voron 2.4, maybe even the Trident build. Those were done on here. Some other content you can see as well. Bye.